Welcome to the Classic Gaming Challenge. I am Randark. Each week I'll present a classic game and a challenge to be met while playing it. Since Stompolino was interested, this week I am presenting Pac-Man's love interest, Ms. Pac-Man. It was released in 1981 by Midway without authorization from Namco. But Midway was not the developer. The General Computer Corporation, or GCC, wrote Ms. Pac-Man, though they called it Crazy Otto. During production, they were sued by Atari over a cabinet conversion kit for Missile Command to make it Super Missile Attack. Part of the settlement of this case was not to make any more conversion kits without the original manufacturer's consent. So to not lose everything they built, GCC brought Ms. Pac-Man to Midway. If you remember from the last Classic Gaming Challenge, Midway was the licensed distributor of Pac-Man to North America. Midway had been waiting on the sequel to come out of Japan, but when Namco didn't produce it, they went ahead with the GCC's Crazy Otto and made it Ms. Pac-Man. Namco owned the rights to Pac-Man, of course, and got angry over the release of Ms. Pac-Man and caused a kerfuffle. Eventually both GCC and Midway turned over their rights to Ms. Pac-Man to Namco. Like Pac-Man, you have a single 4-way joystick to control Ms. Pac-Man and move her about the maze. Your goal, as usual, is to eat all the pellets, including the power pellets. As you do so, you will advance in level and encounter the 4 different mazes Ms. Pac-Man has to offer. Pac-Man only had one maze. There are food bonuses in Ms. Pac-Man as well, but they are not stationary such as they were in Pac-Man. They bounce across the maze and eventually disappear into a warp tunnel. 3 of the ghosts are the same, Inky, Blinky, and Pinky, but Clyde has been replaced by Sue, though Sue is still orange. In later Pac-Man games, she would be turned to purple. Just like in Pac-Man, there are bugs in the original hardware that prevent the game from rendering correctly, but unlike Pac-Man, you can't reach the 256th level in Ms. Pac-Man without playing on an emulator. Ms. Pac-Man became part of popular culture and has been featured in many TV shows and movies. My favorite was in Wayne's World, when Wayne, while interviewing Noah Vanderhoff, asked the arcade owner who was sponsoring Wayne's show, "What's the difference between Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man, really?" And while Wayne made fun of him, though he didn't know it, Vanderhoff answered, "Well, she has a little bow on her head." But, like most sequels, Ms. Pac-Man is not just a repackaged game with only one sprite changed. Pac-Man's programming had the ghosts move in discernible patterns. This is what eventually allowed Billy Mitchell to achieve the first perfect game. Ms. Pac-Man's ghosts, however, have a randomness programmed into them. But this doesn't mean there aren't secrets to getting a high score in Ms. Pac-Man. Grouping the ghosts before eating a power pellet is the standard strategy for gaining extra points. This allows you to quickly eat all 4 ghosts, maximizing the bonus. There are also hold positions on the board. These are spots that the ghosts never pass. You can park Ms. Pac-Man there and never get caught by the ghosts. There's a great article I posted in the forum post for this week's Classic Gaming Challenge on the Rarcast forums about 3 boys from Montana who used the strategies I mentioned and a few others to achieve high scores on Ms. Pac-Man. At the time, the high score was under 400,000, and all 3 of them were able to surpass it. It was scanned out of a 1984 issue of Computer Games. The current high score is 933,580, set by Abner Ashman on April 6, 2006. This week's challenge is to reach 20,000 points. I was able to do this in my first attempt, as you can see in the video. If you complete the challenge, you can leave a screenshot taken by pressing print screen and pasting it into MS Paint on the Rarcast forums. The forums are where you'll find great classic games that I've already presented, such as Street Fighter II, Centipede, Galaga, Donkey Kong, and many, many others. You can also find me on Twitter at randark_CGC, or you can catch me via email at randark@rarcast.com.